Hey everyone. Welcome. First of all, thank you if you're here, but welcome to something I've been talking about doing for years. Kind of like that annoying friend that's like, hey, I'm going to do a podcast, and then never doing it. And here I am, finally doing it. Years later. Welcome to Peace, Tea, and Petty, a podcast where we analyze the daftness in people and society and poke a little fun while doing it. I don't know. Things are. I don't even think I have a word to describe the state of things. We all know. We've seen online. It's depressing, and that's putting it lightly. So why not have a little fun? Ultimately, I am a peaceful person, so to give insight into my name choice, I do like peace. I don't like confrontation. I also, second part, I do dabble in some tea. I do like tea, the drink and, gossip. I can't lie. It's intriguing, and honestly, I live such a boring life half the time that I have to live vicariously through others. And then, well, petty. I gotta admit, my ass is petty. I do like a good little, So, here we are, peace, tea, and petty. So, and I think this is like the greatest time for me to start doing this because it's Black History Month as I'm recording this. We'll see if I like edit this and release it in, a respectable amount of time. But, that's my procrastination. But anyway, so yeah, this Black History Month. I don't think there's a word for the level of exhaustion we're at right now. I've heard a lot of people, and I'll agree with this. This has probably been one of the worst Black History Months in a long time, and that's saying a lot. But like, it's 2026, right? So we've reached a point of just like supreme exhaustion that I don't even know if I half the time I feel like continuing the battle. I don't know. But then other times I am more jaded and cynical and riled up than ever. So I guess where do we even begin? Well, let's just go with recent events. BAFTA. Oh boy. You've all seen snippets of that argument online, right? And it's not like there's one clear-cut answer because, well, to get into this, I'm going to go ahead and start off like the two very extreme ends of this argument. I'm going to go ahead and disregard those because they're always like insane, and that's not it's not productive in this conversation, right? So, if any of you don't know, well, BAFTA, it was like a British award show, and two black actors were presenting. They had a show, Sinners, and it did very well. It was kind of the this like celebration of that, what an honor it is to host, blah blah blah. And so you probably seen the clip where the hard R N-word with the hard R was just shouted randomly during their speech. And so the outbreak with that, obviously a slur being directed at black men. Yeah, that obviously. But the pushback is the person that yelled that slur has Tourette's, and a more rarer form of it. I'm going to butcher this. Corpicalia. One sec. We're looking it up so I don't butcher this completely. Oh, there it was. Okay, if I'm trying to read this, corporalalia. Oh, okay, that's not as bad. Okay, so Tourette's and what it is, and with this specific strain of it, it's involuntary tics, usually audible, or physical, and usually they're in the realm of very negative, shocking terminology. And so, you know, we kind of have like not necessarily a stalemate, but it's okay. Someone who has a syndrome that they can't control, and they're saying a very pointed, derogatory term to that demographic. This shit becomes messy, to say the least. So, okay. Initially, like, and this is where I'm trying to disregard the both ends of the spectrums, because some people, they're foregoing the Tourette's aspect and what it all encompasses, and then other people are quick to call black people who are rightfully and validly offended ableist. So it's like all that shit is just getting nowhere. And yes, there are some things being said that's out of ignorance and rage, and I get it. I understand it. I was there too. Like, I didn't speak about this initially. Well, I didn't do it well either, because I was like, the main thing that's really irking me is white people, y'all are real quick on the draw to like defend or just to invalidate black people's voices, concerns, pain, really quick on the draw to just defend racism, essentially. And of course, the situation is more nuanced than that, but it's like, man, people are suddenly activists for ableism all of a sudden, but given the situation, it's like, hey, there's a lot of things that just went wrong, and I could go on and on. I'll try to summarize best I can, because I have like watched a lot of content and listened and learned, so that I can give my side with like the best. So I'm not just like, I don't want to spread misinformation, but I do want to like highlight some talking points that are just being like clouded over because of this frustration. So, well, let's just get into it. Like, for what it is, an N-word was said specifically to black people, and come to learn that this wasn't done just once. And, a lot of the speculation is like, hey, like, we get it. That's an involuntary tick. Why is that a part of his lexicon? And like, that's something to be said about society, obviously. Like, racism is so ingrained. So I'm not insinuating he's secretly a racist or secretly wanted to say that, but it's just like, that's something to be looked at and talked about. And that the fact that there's a click there, put two and two together, like, oh my god, this specific racial slur being said to specifically black people, there's something to be said there. Ultimately, how this was all handled was absolutely like insane, from all the way from like the beginning. It was told to guests, I think, like just like right away, like not even like prior to that event. It was just kind of like they're all there, like, oh, by the way, this guy has this syndrome and he might say things, you might hear things. Here you go. And on the flip side, it's not like he should be like sequestered away. He shouldn't go into public if he says these things, right? Like, that's, that sucks. And it's just like, how do you handle this situation? There's also the huge point of that this was pre-recorded. This was pre-recorded, and they chose to leave that specifically in. And what more, like, there's more. Someone made a speech about Palestine saying free Palestine. They edited that out, but they chose to leave the N-word in. Like, that's a choice, right? Like, not only are you like censoring that whole situation, like by, deleting the comment made about free Palestine, the support of that's censorship. That's wrong. The fact that they chose to leave the N-word in, that's, and it's just also like, oh, cool, let's like dehumanize and embarrass and enrage black people. Like, they're supposed to like be graceful about it and be the bigger person and blah, blah, blah. Like, this is where the exhaustion comes in, because it's always shit like this. It's always racism. big blatant racism thing happens. And, you know, this situation is nuanced, granted, but any other time of day, it's like, oh, black people are supposed to take it with grace. You're not supposed to get angry. You're not supposed to get aggressive and blah, 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 you know, be the bigger person. And that's exhausting. And that's basically, like, I always hate that phrase because it's like, it's basically telling people to let people abuse you or push your boundaries or that you don't matter, minimize yourself, your feelings, your pain, blah, blah, blah. So this is where we're at. And what really bothers me is just like watching that clip happen, the expressions of the two presenting, Michael B. Jordan and oh my god, I want to say the wrong fucking name. I'm so bad with names. Okay. Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. I'm sorry, I am so bad with celebrity names. But so just watching them, you know, jovial, like they're so jovial, happy, doing their thing, and then the second that word is said, the second the N word is shouted, and with such like, you know, you just watch their faces, their expressions drop. It's so heartbreaking, honestly. And then just from there on out, you can just see the exhaustion in their expressions from there on, and it's just like that's so enraging and sad that they had to experience that and go through it. Like, this is their night. They're celebrating. They're, you know, they're presenting and like, and you know, being in a situation where you're supposed to keep your cool and keep going on, it's hard because, like, yeah, if you react in the moment, it might not be optically correct. Like, I can totally understand people that are just like essentially being ableist. Like, I'm not trying to like justify it, but I can really understand because it's just so frustrating, this situation to be in, and being told you're not allowed to be mad or you're supposed to let it go. Like, no, that's no. Like, we can still talk about it. We can still be like, hey, that's frustrating. And the worst thing is an apology was never issued. And people are having a lot of nuanced opinions about the apology. Like, honestly, I mean, statements were made, and I don't even think it was directly from the individual who has the as Tourette's. John, fuck me, I'm so bad with names, guys. I'm sorry, Lindo. Okay, John Davidson. So, from what I've seen, I don't think he's personally issued some sort of statement or apology, and I've seen ones done on his behalf or from BBC or BAFTA or whatever. And a lot of them, like, obviously, like, every time I see a post with a statement or apology, the comments are pretty much echoing the same sentiment of not accepted, like, not good enough, or, you know, should have been done this way. And to an extent, I agree, because a lot of them are, like, worded in a way of, like, I'm sorry you were offended, or I'm sorry if you were offended. And, or they'll be like, apologize, I'm sorry like, this was harmful to black people, but blah, 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 blah. It's like they're doing apologies wrong. And it's not hard to just, like, in the moment, it should have been like, sorry, whoa, whoops, sorry. Well, not whoops, you know, I'm not to minimize and make it all, you know, it should have been just like, hey, sorry, move on. You know, I have a tick. I'm sorry. Move on. I'm sorry that, you know. But it's just been like statement after statement that's just been so lacking in taking, well, accountability on a lot of, like, well, BBC's part and BAFTA maybe. Like, they could have maybe put up a lot more, well, essentially, well, editing, first of all. Like, why did you leave that in? And they took it out way too late after this discourse. Of course, it's the internet. It's going to blow up. It's already happened. The upset is strong. So, like, yeah, all I can do is sigh at this point and just, and it's just exhausting. And, like, I'm listening. I wasn't unaware of what Tourette's, the extent of it was. And sure, it can be like, you know, when you point out things like, why is it specifically that one? Why is it specifically only that slur was used? And like, it's being pointed at the demographic it was created for, and there's all that kind of speculation. I'm not trying to belittle or be too ignorant to what Tourette's is. Like, I understand. It's just hard when you're in your feels, right? It's hard when it's like, again, it's just like, man, people are so ready to jump on black people to defend racism in any sort of way. That's what the problem is here, like, amongst many others. So yeah, and it's just like, really, really, in front of our Black History Month, guys. Like, and this isn't the first thing that's happened this month. We're well into the month. We're almost near the end. And there's been a plethora of other things. So, like, obviously, we know the situation with ICE is fucking, like, ugh, I could go far as back as, like, pre-election. Like, we've been screaming at everyone. We've been screaming at y'all. Holy shit. Like, this isn't just like, my opinion, your opinion, politics, teehee. This is detrimental. And the fact that people were so cavalier and trolling and, just kind of spiteful in the face of, like, humanity and activism, essentially. And now everyone's facing the consequences, and primarily people of targeted demographics that are always oppressed and ignored, and so, and now we're at this situation with ICE. And I recently, I had pointed out things. Well, okay, not just myself, but we were pointing out stuff like, it's so blatant how, like, oh, look at the coverage that the white people are getting that ICE murdered versus the colored people, like, for instance, black people. It's so telling. You can see, like, there was GoFundMe's made for all the victims, and just like, we have numeric proof, of how much y'all don't value black lives, right? Like, and how they'll only know the names of the white people ICE murdered, but none of the other POC. So it's like, and even at that point, like, the protests, people were out protesting against ICE. A lot of people are trying to come at black people for, like, not being as active, but it's like, A, we fucking told y'all. B, we're fucking tired. C, our own safety is at risk. And I say ours is, like, it's primarily, I mean, racism happens everywhere, but this is all highly concentrated in the States. But it's like, it's an ongoing thing. It's like, we tried to tell y'all, and look at where we are. Like, we are, like, do you sense the exhaustion at the point we're at yet? Because this is crazy. I don't think it's been this, like, at this pinnacle since like, BLM, honestly, when COVID was going on. Like, shit was at its all-time high. And honestly, I can tell you, the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show, I'm not surprised at all about the backlash. Well, not backlash, the outbursts, the crash outs from the right side, the Republican side. Like, yeah, we're not surprised. You can't be surprised. I mean, look at last year. Kendrick gave a baller ass show. Like, what a beautiful, it was so full of commentary of I can't even, like, bring words right now. Like, I still, to this day, I will go back and watch that show. It was so, like, amazing, and I was dancing along, singing along. Like, it was so powerful. And seeing Bad Bunny's, same thing. It was so artistic, so much meaning in it, and I'm not gonna lie, the petty side of me, I kind of find it awesome that they chose especially in the heat of, like, ICE, they chose a Spanish-speaking performer, and he performed entirely in Spanish. That was just, like, a chef's kiss of petty in my books, and I'm so here for it. So you can't be surprised. with how they're acting, and all you can do is laugh at this point, because seeing their counter Super Bowl show was sad to say the least. I mean, it's hilarious. It's hilariously bad. Like, I don't even think they want to be in, like, supporting their own shit at this point. It's like they're just doing it to be spiteful, honestly. Aside from all the craziness, I do like how Black History Month, it surfaces a lot of Black content creators, and they'll also share historic facts about pardon me, they'll share a bunch of historic facts about creators and historic figures in the Black community. Honestly, Black history is the world history, because there's so many things that have been taken from Black culture and Black people and ignored, of course. Like it's honestly great to see how it's given a spotlight too on white behavior, because what in the Caucasity are y'all doing half the times? I'll admit, I am quite a lover of Threads. If you don't know what Threads is, it's Instagram, or Meta's version of Twitter, the one that crashed and burned because of the grubby little swats the car baby man had. Yeah. Anyway, it's a better place. It's a better place. I think not only should Black History Month be, celebrating the history and Black excellence, it should also be, although this should be all year round, to be honest, it should also be pointing out white behaviors. So I've seen a lot of content creators, Black content creators, and they're giving education for free and showing examples to these things. And it's like, as a white person, there's a point you got to ask yourself, okay, why do I feel the need to interject into Black people's business? Because a lot of the time, they come and comment on a situation or an issue, and for some reason, y'all seem to come in with the angle that I'm right. I know about this. I know what's going on. I'm the authority figure here. I'm the center of this. This is about, you're putting yourself in the situation that you don't have no business being in. Comes to a point of, why do you think you're right? And a lot of creators will point out that there needs to be a lot of more decentering of whiteness. A lot of white people like to make it about themselves. They like to, interject. They think they're right. They think they know, like, they have the authority. And it can all be boiled down to a single question. Are you Black? No? Then maybe shut the fuck up. Like, unless there's a situation where someone is being, like, blatantly wrong, harmful, toxic, blah, blah, blah. But typically that's not the case. It's usually a situation where Black people will be voicing, hey, that's racist, that's harmful, that hurts me. And a white person will come in and be like, no, shut up, you're wrong. They'll just say something to invalidate, minimize, and it's absolutely insane. And I don't get it. I've been kind of going on I've been trying to focus on a topic that might be uncomfortable for a lot of people, because it's like, you might not think you're racist. I think a lot of people think racism is such a, for lack of a better term, black and white, like, obvious, malicious hate, when really it's, you might be a contributor, and there's microaggressions and things that you can do that kind of perpetuate racism. And like I said, you might not be intending to be, but unfortunately you might be a perpetrator of this. So I try to, like, for instance, like I just mentioned, interjecting when a Black person is speaking about a topic, an issue, racism. Do not retort with something putting them down, telling them they're wrong, or interjecting your opinion, because it wasn't asked for. And that's just so wild to me how often I'm seeing that happen. I can tell you, like, I've had it happen a couple times to me where I voiced I'm voicing my concerns, and I'm frustrated too, because for so long I didn't recognize these things. So I've been like kind of beat down into a position of not necessarily submission, for lack of a better word, but just kind of made to feel like I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm wrong, and I never realized how a little black influence I had in my life growing up. So it was always like I was around white people and I would voice something and they'd just write it off, or assign me this role of like the token black friend kind of thing. And I unfortunately kind of like played that character, because if you think back, like growing up watching shows, a lot of them are like all the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon shows. There's always like one token black character, and they're always like, "Hey guy," like that was totally not even like, "Hey yo, faux shiz, what's up, my homies?" And faux shiz, just, and that is so outdated, like stereotypical black lingo. But you know what I mean? Like they're you're playing this token black friend part, and they're musical, they're chill, laid back, funny, that you can make racist jokes to them, and they're like, well, darn, like they take it, and unfortunately, I've found myself playing that character kind of just in the social construct. It was just like, well, you get like acceptance from it. Like I don't know if that's the correct way to put it. Like you're kind of accepted better into society if you play this role, tap dance. Not like, but honestly, it's so harmful, and I found myself getting more and more frustrated as I was going through life, and my relationships with people, I felt they weren't genuine. So, and then later, like only just recently, I come to realize that like, wow, I've been playing this role, and I've allowed people to treat me in this way. So it was eye opening, and I was just like, wow, I let all this shit go, and unfortunately perpetuated a lot of garbage too. Like, oh, here, Fred, you can have the N-word pass, whatever, it's not big deal. And really, I'm just like embarrassed, honestly. But like, I didn't necessarily know that better, so I'll be kinder on myself. But honestly, that's how it was. So I'm kind of like reached a point, like, although I've kind of moved past it a little bit. Upon realizing that, I got really frustrated and heated. So when I see these like obvious things, I'm like, oh my god, no, we're not doing this again. We're not going to continue doing this. So we're moving on. We're moving forward. We're changing how we do things, because it's even like the little jokes that keep racism alive, the little microaggressions. Like I am absolutely like, I don't know why I'm still stunned how some people don't think racism is really a thing, or that bad of a thing, just because slavery doesn't exist anymore. And that's like what I mean when it's like, it's racism isn't such blatancy. It's like, I would go down a list, honestly. Like, if you want to know what it feels like, I could make you uncomfortable. Do you know what it's like to have the cashier like throw your money down, your change down on the counter because they want to touch you because you're dirty? Do you know what it's like walking into a convenience store and being watched, or just waiting in line and have a white lady turn around, look at you, scowl, and like clutch her purse? Do you know what it's like to be called the N-word, the hard R, by an adult parent, by a white man, and you're a child and you're just playing soccer? Like, do you know what it's like to just be killed for nothing? Like, just for taking a shortcut through like, it's stupid shit like that. Well, not, it gets to that level, but like, it's all the stupid little shit that's like, it's keeping racism alive. And I'm very tired of people minimalizing that and invalidating the feeling of that, invalidating our anger, or the second we get passionate about talking about a topic. Like, I'm not mad usually all the time. I mean, it may like no, I won't even give you that. It doesn't even look like I'm not even just myself. Like sometimes we'll just be like trying to explain something and suddenly, how fast people are to be like, "Oh, the black angry woman, the black angry man" kind of thing, Like I don't know. I just frustrated when I've had even people close to me, like I'm pointing out something systemically racist, something that's an example that people can easily overlook. And to have someone say that I'm, you know, it's there's a list of things, right? It's like, oh, you guys have this victim complex and mentality, and you guys are just perpetuating this stuff. You guys just need to get over it. Or you're online too much. You're just playing into this. They're trying to separate us. They're trying to segregate it. Like, what? What in the Caucasity? Honestly, like, shut the fuck up. Disrespectfully, please, because we're tired of hearing it. We're tired of having to explain it. It's so clear to us. It's so like, and it's because we've experienced this for so fucking long. Doesn't matter where you are. You have color to your skin, you're gonna fucking get something. And yes, there are different varying levels when it comes to like having darker skin. That's called colorism. That's a whole other topic we could get into. Like myself, I recognize I myself even can say I have privileges because I'm a lighter skin tone, but and then there's the whole like interracial shit too with like being biracial or light skinned and versus people who are darker skin. And that's a whole other conversation we could have, but we don't need that noise. But to be honest, we just need white people to listen more and be allies. And I also want to point out, like, I see a lot of people just telling all white people to shut the fuck up, or in the sense where it's like you're harming your allies. Don't like, be careful with that. Like, yes, please just be quiet and listen. Be respectful. Don't fucking backtalk what we're saying because we're always right. But honestly, if you're going to be an ally, I appreciate allies. I love white allies. Like, please, like, speak up, support, call out your comrades, colleagues, because it's not a battle that's going to be won like alone. Unfortunately, like we need people. And unfortunately, some white people just aren't gonna listen, and they need other white people to check them. Although, and then there's always the ones that are just perpetually, forever ignorant, and those ones will just whatever. We can ignore those together. But yeah, I'll say this: like, I appreciate white allyship; it's necessary. But yeah, we just need to listen better. All right. I didn't think I could talk this long, honestly. I'm proud of myself. But to be honest, I sit there every day and I will have like a full blown conversation in my head every time I'm scrolling past something on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, whatever have you. I'll like take a moment and be like, we'll go down this rabbit hole. I'll basically have a whole podcast episode in my head and I'm like, damn, I really want to talk about that, but I'm usually at work or something and I can't. And usually it's weird. I find myself very talkative in the middle of the day, more so than any other time, and then I'm lazy, perpetually lazy, procrastinator. What's up? But yeah, no, I really wanted to start this podcast. I think it's gonna be fun. I don't know what the outlook is. Well, I guess I kind of have something, but I think I'm open to wherever this is gonna go, whatever it's gonna become. I do want to have guests on here because I think that's fun, having a conversation and bouncing ideas off each other. So you don't just have to listen to my boring ass voice all the time. But yeah, if you made it this far, I appreciate you for coming here and lasting this long. I hope to see you in future episodes. Please share your feedback. I'm going to try to post this everywhere I can. My DMs are open, comment sections will be open, but yeah, please share your feedback. Please keep this conversation going. I don't know if I missed anything. There'll be more episodes coming out. So Thanks once again, and this has been your host. I didn't introduce myself. Oh, I always do that. I'm Destiny Siren. You can call me Destiny. Yeah, the worst intro ever. That never happened. All right. And anyway, thanks for joining me again, and I'll see you next time on Peace, Tea, and Petty. Bye.